Yeah, so once we began Clam, I knew that it was something that I didn't know. I didn't actually didn't know it was to become because I didn't know it was going
Actually,
to
no. When
become.
we started it, I can remember exactly. We had no idea what we just wanted to make something bigger than the last blog.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's all there was to it.
Because
But
the
that's how
main
we built
flaw
it
with
up.
the other, I think towards the end of
It,
towards the end of the other blog, it was we were really kind of it was a precursor to.
it was. You look at the last days to be like that. If you look at like the last days of the Wakefield the Tootie, it's kind of like an early clam. If you look at the first days of clam, it's kind of like a early, like like the Tootie.
All we really wanted was like it
That
was
was everything. No, but
we just wanted more national. I've always been a
you've been a socialist worker. You just wanted a national
I've
blog.
always liked because I know I've always had big ambitions, I guess, for things in general. Like back when I started,
So when,
back when I started the sports website, that was local, and then I really wanted it to be national, even though that was foolish at the time because like little kids doing like national shit. But I've always thought like an idea of you know non-local stuff would be better. I think
yeah,
you
no, absolutely. That's the thing. I was like the main person that wanted to get away from that. I didn't even like. I don't think I rarely even talked about Wakefield on that first blog. Actually, I didn't even. I liked it. It was cool at the time. We
it
didn't
was the only thing of its kind.
sort of. There's a lot of stuff that we've done that I'm not saying is particularly special, but it is the only few things of its kind. Like if you think about it, kids like you and me. At least I haven't seen too many. I mean, they exist, but I don't see too many like basement show reviews. And
No,
like
I
that's something we do.
if there's anything that you can probably give credit to
But I'm
Clam.
not saying it's like something that like is amazing that we deserve a badge
No,
or
yeah,
something. I'm not saying like
it's not.
that. But like
I
not at
think it's
all.
definitely just something
It's just
that.
something else that if somebody wants to see that, then they
Oh
still
yeah,
can. And
we document shit that might otherwise have been forgotten,
yeah, I'd say.
especially at like the lower levels, because I think at a certain point you're always going to be able to Google a past event like at a club or whatever.
Yeah,
But
but you
with a
can't.
base, you can't do that with a basement show. Not to say that
No, there are some.
we don't always go to the. We can't just
We're
logistically.
only gonna go if we
We
feel
can't
like it,
always make
or
it.
if we want to go. If
We'd
we want
love
to
to
see a
go to
band.
more than we have.
I'd like to go to more.
That's what the
but
concert calendar is about. But
that's I only want to go to
um,
see bands I want to see though. I'm
yeah,
not gonna go to. Just,
yeah,
like,
that's the truth. Like as
yeah.
much we do,
I do
we
love
like.
support.
Yeah,
like
we
shit
support
like that, yeah.
this
Because
the
it's all
stuff
cause
going on.
it's making good if as long as good bands and good like sounds and shit.
Yeah,
Like,
there's
are getting out
somebody's
there.
enjoying it
Yeah,
at some point, so
but
that's
I
pretty
mean,
cool. But
yeah, I'm not gonna also like go to every
yeah,
single
we
thing.
haven't. That's
Or
I think
yeah,
that's one thing that we can really say. Only on a couple occasions have we ever really.
I don't think I've ever. If I don't, we're
No,
not
yeah,
gonna
I
go
don't.
say what you're saying, but well, I
What
don't
in,
know.
I was gonna say, go to see just a show on a limb. I've seen
Oh,
this.
I think I
I've
have, but
brought you along to shows
yeah,
that
that's
I've
true.
known about.
Well, that's because you're asking me to go, and
Yeah,
like it's something to
there
do.
was never
But
any complete really random ones.
yeah, that's true. Like there was
Yeah, I don't think so. Was
I've
there
seen
any
a few.
random ones?
There are some bands that like I don't listen to a whole lot, but I either like I know who they are. You know what I mean? I have some reason to go there. And
No,
I've listened to them and I know them.
most
I've
of the
seen them before.
yeah, I felt like most of the stuff maybe I knew like oh you that's pretty cool though of you that you actually were interested in wanting to go to
Which ones?
those early shows that maybe
Which ones?
like editors and
Oh, that's true. I didn't.
bands
That's a while ago though. But
and
yeah,
probably no age you didn't
I
really
didn't
know
know at all. Yeah, I didn't
at
know
all.
Jay.
So
Yeah.
just to go out on a limb, yeah, J2.
I don't
Just
think
to,
it's that amazing of a thing, but I think
it's
it's
not
cool.
that amazing, but that's cool
What
that
happened
you did that.
after?
Well, yeah, what
more
happened
amazing.
after?
But
It it even if you didn't explicitly like the band that you saw immediately after seeing them,
yeah,
it just kind of kept the doors open to there's different stuff out there than what you've
yeah,
already listened to.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, I want to say that I think also just in general to I don't know not because Clam's not the only one. There's others out there, obviously, but like so much shit that a lot of times like I don't like to think of Clam as a blog. I think of it more as a website. But a lot of like blogs and sort of other shit like
Yeah.
that gets like understandably gets a lot of bad rep. But I think that like Clam and similar minded sort of more like fan mentality like based sort of
That's
websites
true.
are like different from just the other blogs that are more like about like hype stuff or what's
Yeah.
cool at the moment or something,
We
which is
don't.
like kind of like I don't really know a lot of times. I can't tell and I don't care. We've done this before that a lot of times we actually it almost hurts us in some ways because I usually miss half of these things. I've missed most of the like explosions of some artists. I'll like discover something totally like randomly that was like big like a couple years ago or
Yeah,
something or whatever or
we've
came
been
out a couple
we've
years
been
ago.
pretty late on it,
We
but
pretty late. You're okay, but I'm often pretty late on something
it's
unless it's a
sort
band
of.
I already know.
I think that's just sort of natural because yeah, what I try to do with you, which is kind of weird,
So,
but I know that you're not as technologically inclined as I am. Obviously, it's true.
yeah, it's true. Okay.
Like I, not to say I'm good or anything, but I'd say like I just have a more tendency
Yeah, you do.
to
Okay,
seek
that's
to
good.
seek to.
Yeah, where you
All right, getting to
yeah,
the point.
Yeah.
Getting to the point. I knew. Well, let's face it. Most of the shit. Like yeah. Now it's easier. You can YouTube shit. Like YouTube has become an
Yeah,
acceptable.
I can
It's
do
become an
that.
acceptable form of things. But also, I'd say burning you with CDs is pretty exceptional.
What the fuck are you getting at anyway? Like, I don't know where you're going with this.
I'm
but
just
like,
saying. Well, the CDs that I've burnt you, even if you don't like them, you still.
most of them I do like.
That's
I usually
how.
ask them.
That's
I
how.
ask you to
Yeah,
burn
that's
me.
true. But
Yeah.
I think I've gone
Like,
on a limb on a couple of
there have
times.
been a couple times you'd be like, "Oh, check out this band or something."
True. I'm not gonna say that's the whole thing, but that's. I think. You know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that. But,
Yeah, I don't know where you're going with it.
But
either,
pretty much, we can be tardy on getting into shit, but it's just because.
Totally. Yeah.
It's just.
Just because
I think
it's
that's
kind of an unnatural
that's kind of
thing.
cool. No,
Yeah,
I think it's kind of
that's
cool
what I'm
that we
trying
don't.
to say, yeah,
Because
yeah.
if we did, that'd be like, oh, hype. But
Exactly.
we're
And
not
I'm not
this,
opposed to like. There's some. I mean, I am opposed to like simply hyping a band. I think it's kind of a cruel and like thing to be like, oh, this is at this point, this band's amazing, and then, oh,
Yeah.
fuck them. We don't care about them anymore. But like,
It might seem like it on some instances. Like I know.
no, I mean, no, yeah,
for
exactly.
me personally, like
Definitely for us.
I've seen. There's so many bands out there that
You
I might
get more excited.
I
about
might
at some
see a
point.
band and then all of a sudden
You
I'll
you
be
don't
like in
care
there.
as much about them
yeah.
as like a fan though, not like as like it's
Or
simply
like-
a taste in music though.
Or like you see something, I'll see something and I'll really like it at that moment.
Yeah,
And then
like,
unfortunately for whatever reason I won't be
yeah. So
like I won't be
that
it's
can
not
often
because
understandably
because I
be
don't like
misconstrued
it's
as
not
that.
because I don't
can understand
yeah.
that like that can often be misconstrued.
It's just
as,
so
like,
much
oh,
shit.
Yeah,
There's just so much things to
Yeah.
keep track of. Like we're not
Yeah.
doing this as a by no means we're not doing this all day or whatever. We just
not at all. But
in our spare time. So
yeah, and
uh
I don't know. Just,
so that's the reason why maybe like someone would say like, oh, you maybe posted about this band once or a couple times,
yeah,
and then you haven't done anything since. Well, I'm sorry, it's
but,
just
yeah. I guess most of the bands I post about, I constantly like post about.
that's true. Yeah,
So-
if you read Clam, you'll notice there's a lot of repetitive. That's
There's a
why
lot
we
of
have the
repetition.
honorary clammers.
It's
That
really,
basically
like, people
tells
we
you
really,
the
really
people
like.
that don't be surprised if we do a lot of
Yeah, just because we're
If there's a lot of
we're
posts,
interested.
like
in
if there's
that.
like some I think recently it's been since there's so much shit I think maybe I was more of a victim to it early on that
What?
just posting like if I just found out whatever then I'd post it
I try to keep it.
but
like,
that's
as,
that's
like,
still cool
I like
but
to
I
think
know
of it as, like, if
there's so
you-
many things
I like to think of it as like you wanted to really know about Nobody, and you wanted a nice little place to find out a lot about Nobody. Then you could go on Clam and. Or you could just
Yeah.
go on Nobody's website, and, yeah, kind
No,
of the middleman. But
it's a
like
good
either way, it's like
it's a good
it's
secondary
good,
source
Yeah, it's a good like place to go. It's like
it's just something to
and I think
what
it
I like
cuts
to
out a
tell-
lot of the bullshit though. Like obviously, like there's places like Pitchfork that have way more like, information and they're much maybe more organized, more better organized or whatever. But a lot of times with Pitchfork, there's just and not just Pitchfork. I'm not trying to like pick on Pitchfork because I check out Pitchfork too. But there'll be a lot of different things that where you just get this feeling though when you're looking at it that it's just kind of like all bullshit. I really don't want to be like picking on someone that's like writes for Pitchfork, and Pitchfork has some good contributions. But it's true, like Spin Magazine or like a lot of these big websites where it just like it comes from like all it feels like is like press releases and like this is really cool or something. And
It's
there's like something there's like a distance. It's like I don't
it's
feel
sort
like
of like
it's a weird feeling. I
innate.
get it anyway when I read. Yeah, it's like
It's built into like that whole institution.
yeah, and it feels
just
really
is
weird.
how what they are, because
It's like yeah, you can't
You
like
know?
even like I've been occasionally like guilty a little bit sometimes, but you'll read like oh Black Lips and they're like doing something bad right now or something, you know, and it's like who cares for a second? Like I want to listen to the song or something, or you know what I mean. And or it was like I think Jay Retard was someone that like really like actually suffered a lot from that, and people instead of like actually just like you know focusing on his music or something, but
it's like, oh, he punched somebody in the head.
yeah, exactly. It's like who cares? The guy, you know, deserved.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
actually
and,
that's
like-
really true. I know a lot of.
And that really sucked. You know what I mean? So, but
I mean, I'm not sure if we were in. I think we were probably around during that. I don't know when that happened. I don't know when that happened, but
early, but anyway, yeah.
yeah. But anyways, if something like that happened, we wouldn't really try to be an instigator about it.
Yeah. Well,
that
yeah, no, it's just a lot of people that
just
yeah will comment on shit and talk about shit and like that has nothing to do. So many times things get away that has nothing to do with the music at all, or like the artist or anything that's like really interesting to discuss.
no. At
And
the end of the day, I think a lot of websites, they aim at the same goal that we do, but it all depends
I
on.
don't know, yeah. I don't know. I gotta say I don't actually read too much other stuff because I get the same
I mean,
kind of like this gets really annoying.
It can be pretty contrived, but
It's just yeah. I mean the only
at the
reason
same time, yeah, if you just want some natural, not to say that we're the most,
we're not.
then we're not the most genuine, but
I don't know. Actually, I gotta
in
say
terms of what
as far as I
we
know,
like,
I know I'm being genuine.
yeah,
So I mean,
we're definitely being
I didn't mean like
not genuine,
not
like
this like sinister asshole.
no, not genuine, like in terms of like complete, like we're gonna stick to one thing. You're gonna see a whole variety of. I think that's kind of cool about us too. Is we don't really stick. Since we like what we like, and what we like is sort of all over the map, but not really.
I gotta say I've never.
It's weird, but there are some like there definitely I know I like some bands that don't definitely would never really be mentioned in the same realm as the majority of the
Totally
shit we
same,
listen to.
Yeah, it's definitely.
But I'll still occasionally like to post stuff about them.
Yeah, me
That's
too.
because I like them. You know, same with you.
Yeah.
Like probably for me, the example would be Walkman.
Yeah.
Probably, I mean that's rock and roll to me.
Yeah,
But
actually, they're not that even that disparate.
they're not that different. But I know they definitely are much in terms of like if you compare them to like Ty Segall or the OCs or whatever, who the Walkmen love, randomly, but. Yeah, if you just compare them like in terms of like how big they are, then you'll be like, oh well, then you're just going from like little to huge.
That's something.
But it's just something I love.
That's true. A lot of times I'll like look at the site and that's something I noticed a lot is that like there'll be a lot of times so like post a lot of bands that are kind of like bigger, and there's really no like thought process behind that. It's just like oh this is something I'm posting because I like it. And then there'll be times we'll be posting stuff that like probably like nobody, or not. I shouldn't say nobody, but a lot of people might not know about it, especially if it's centralized to like Boston or New England,
Yeah.
or just really random bands. Like I'll post the shit out of certain bands. In my head, it's like it's all the same. You know what I mean? Like I'll post the shit out of certain bands, like the Maine Coons, who are like an excellent band, and like nobody like apparently knows them, and Cause like
We like it.
Well, I love it, and like I don't see like
We're not just
you know,
trying
nobody
to.
else is like talking about it. And it's like
That's
what
true.
the fuck, you know
It
what
is
I mean?
cool.
Same with like bands like and like Cumstain.
It's not like we're just
Yeah, I mean-
reaching for these obscure bands. It's like no,
Not at all. That's
we've
another
listened
thing,
to
too,
them.
Yeah.
We've listened to them, and we
Really, really
really,
love
really,
them.
really love them. So we're just gonna.
Yeah, and that's
Gonna
the
do the
totally
most.
like the same thing as like anything else I'm listening to. If it was like Radiohead or like Simon and Garfunkel or like Arcade Fire.
Yeah, I
just
think
anything. You know what I mean?
We're most nowadays. We're staying current.
Yeah,
More
I
than-
try
more
to
so in
stay
the past,
current.
but,
Definitely. Well, that's what I'm.
It's
mostly
always
like.
good to do like the. It's sometimes nice to do old visitations. I don't know really like who listens to what. I don't really give a crap.
Yeah,
But
it's like
if we stumble upon something that oh, like I know you like to. Sometimes you post the Atlas sound covers from a few
I do
years
that a
ago.
lot because
They're a
I do
few
it a lot
years
because I
old,
just
but they're
stumbled
still
upon
yeah.
them. Yeah, just not you know
You
what I mean,
stumbled
like
upon them and you
because
just like
it's
them.
really
So
cool.
yeah, so it
Yeah,
doesn't really matter. Yeah, we really are not time conscious at
that's the
all.
best way to think of it. Although actually not totally, but I mean it's good to stay current. But my mind is all over the place. Like when I think